Hello everyone, it's Lennon and welcome back to Art and Archetypes. It's new moon tonight and I'm excited for this one. There wasn't a lot of, I don't want to use the word useful because all information is useful, okay? But I think I pride myself on this particular archetype being what I would consider that would make up the majority of my own personality. And once I got to learning about this archetype a little bit, I realized that as much of a creator as I have always considered myself, I don't possess a lot of the qualities that the creator archetype has. And that's what we're going to go over today. I think I'm going to map this out while I chat. Now, I think that the archetype we're talking about today, of course, is the artist or the creator. And like I said, I think that it has multiple names. It could be creator, artist, inventor, innovator. I guess if we needed a movie reference, it would be maybe Tony Stark, you know, Iron Man. This Elon Musk type character that's driven by innovation, that's driven by their own, what they present to the world, their value. And their value is very much centered upon what they can physically make. And they use all the things in their repertoire to make certain things, whether it be technology driven, art driven, like paintings, sculptures, posters, things like that. Or it could be, or I think that it doesn't even have to be art as the way most people think. Art can be just, it's creativity. So it could literally be in any avenue. So I think I want to put the motto, because I'm going to cut this out of something else. And let's just put the thumb hole there. I'm just kind of mapping this out. I kind of learned through this process that, sticking to places. That having it mapped out really kind of helps me to figure out where everything's going to go once everything starts getting glued down. I guess the name could be here. And I love the iconography of art that I see it, like paintbrushes and palettes and paints and splatter and things like that. That makes me think of an artist. And even though, like I said before, it doesn't really have anything to do with just painting or just getting a palette out or just getting your pencils or paper and stuff like that out. It literally could be anything that we know of that people use creativity for to further, you know, the human populace, communities and towns and government, even like society, art that rebels against the society. I think that the artist plus the rebel does beautiful things when we're talking about archetypes. So I think the main objective, like I guess we would put the objective or maybe even the motto here, because I think I was going to do something different with the palette, because I think I want to do something here with the motto. I think this is going to be like a shadow color, and then this is going to be black, because I'm going to write the fear, which I usually try to put on these art pages with the silver marker if it'll show up, because these metallic markers are kind of wonky, so you never really know what's going to happen with them. But I think I'll put the motto maybe here, and then like some shadows here, and then fear down here in the black recess. And I think I need to put a quote somewhere. I guess the quote could come from the artist that's looking down at this table. I think I want to make this look like kind of like a table. There. This is like a little bitty speech bubble. And this is just some cracker box cardboard that I tend to like to put different textural elements in here. There's no way to get this size right, so I'm just kind of just make like a kidney bean shape. It's like some kind of kidney bean. And I don't care about the lines here. It's not really the point. I don't really care. I think I'll paint this first. Let's put some brown on the, got my little paper here, paper palette. I like to use paper plates when I'm using acrylics because they dry so fast. So you're kind of wasting, a good palette, and that damn thing will just dry up and it'll just be like, it'll look caked, like caked on. I'm trying to make this kind of look like weird wood, which doesn't really bother me if it's not going to look solely like wood, but just a little paint to zhuzh up. Maybe some, like a dark color and dark brown to help it look like the striations of wood. Just like some wood striations are curved. My bark's not just straight up and down. Okay, let's put a little bit more yellow in there. I'm using dry brush the whole thing. Oh, getting ahead of myself here. Just tap that in the water. All right, let's get the Mod Podge out. This time I'm just going to use my finger for the glue because don't feel like ruining any more of my damn paintbrushes with glue. No matter how much you wash it out, there's still like that hard piece that just will not come out of your brush. So I guess I'm gonna let this page dry a little bit more before I continue. Let's put some shadow color there so that I can let this page dry a little bit. I do kind of want to make this like a shadow, so we'll try to make that work, but I don't know if it will. I think I put too much paint. I want to set the extra paint down on the palette. Maybe I'll find a way to use it later. This paper is really porous, so it sucks up all this paint. Some more extra paint. Oh, I need to dry brush it some more. Ooh, that was a lot of extra paint. Fog that out. Make it like, kind of look like a shadow. Ooh, we got a hair in there. Well, I've got the black on here. I need to make this thumb hole. I promise we'll eventually talk about this damn archetype. Let's like line that out a little bit. There. So, need to make it look kind of like a hole instead of a blob of paint. Right, there's a difference, right? Now the blobs of paint need to look a little bit like they've been poured, right? Again, I'm not really taking a lot of time on this because you know you could really make it look like a blob of paint if you've got the time. But this is just an art journal. It's just for me, so. I just want to put some primary colors down. Something for me to write on a little bit later, after this whole thing's said and done. Just use a Sharpie and draw this. Because this is just going to say the creator. I've chosen to do creator instead of artist because I'm making the whole page look very artist-like anyway. So I think I've chosen to use the name creator, even though I need to constantly be under the, you know, I constantly need to know that there are many names for this. Let's put some white here. Much as I can, because I was gonna make this into a speech bubble. Okay, I think that looks a-okay. It's not great, but I think it'll do. Let's get some green. I'm just gonna make some like brush strokey looking strokes for this motto here. This is a very transparent paint, so I'll probably have to do a couple of takes. All right. This page is semi-dry. Ooh, I got some green on me. Where is Bob Ross when I need him? Oh well. Okay. Let's see. What color? Could just use the black, I guess, and then use the silver for down here. I think I'm gonna put the quote here, and I think I want to do the quote last. So the creator archetype. I guess the motto would be imagine it, do it. That's the motto of the creator. So in whatever capacity this creator is doing or using their creativity for, mostly it's about finding new ways, finding new things and ways to fit together. Ways in which to use their imagination and their knowledge and whatever it is they're using, whether it be technology, art supplies, things like that. They if they can imagine it, they can do it, and they very much keep that mindset with them. So I'm gonna write a little, like, kind of an excerpt to create. things of value. That's almost like a goal. So you know how I like to put the goals in here. I think that that's a beautiful goal for any creator. And I don't necessarily think that you have to have innate creativity abilities to create. I think that that's the beauty in this, is that as long as you're using your imagination, as long as you're coming up with things that may be off the wall, as long as you're executing your plans, as long as you keep coming up with fresh ideas. I think that it's really important to always try to gain new perspectives in things. And I think that there's some creativity in that as well. Shifting your perspective, not getting too bogged down. Say you're doing stuff with a technology company and you're constantly at the table looking for new ideas. That's just how it is. And especially in today's world, we're constantly shifting and upgrading our phones and stuff like that. And there's a team of people that do that. It's the same kind of concept in your life. I think that for the creator archetype, their main goal is just to keep creating things that will have value to other humans. And I think that that's a beautiful quality. Now we'll get more into how that may lead to shadow in this particular archetype, in a minute. But I think that when I think of the goal of the creator, artist, sculptor, innovator, whatever you want to call it, create things of value, whatever it is. I think when I had babies, I was always thinking of things that could get invented to help mamas, to help young moms, to help moms of infants, things like that. I was always thinking about things. Now most of it was already invented. I just didn't have the pocketbook to go to these certain places that would have these certain things. But it was the idea that I was constantly saying, oh, this would be cool if we could do it this, if we could do this and that would help, or blah, 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 blah. So I think the creator gets into those where they're constantly trying to invent new things. But I do think that there's a possibility that you can invent yourself, always reinvent yourself. I think there's a little bit in the creator archetype of reinvention in self and outside of yourself. But mostly I think that with the archetype, they're just wanting to make things. They're wanting to create whatever it is that they believe will add value to their audience, the people that they will be having this product for, whatever. So that's really cool. Now, because this is like a shadow aspect here, like a little shadow, gray shadow thing, I want to write down some shadows, like bullet point style, that would, not shadows. Yeah, the fears are down here. The shadows are down here. Okay, get that straight. So the shadows may be unorganized. Isn't that the truth? Okay, now I like my organization, but my organization stems from chaos. If it looks like organized chaos, it fits more to my personality. Pigsty organization, like non-organization skills whatsoever, that doesn't appeal to me. But a lot of people thrive in chaos. I think my husband is a lot of like that. Like, he's very messy. He's a very messy person. He doesn't put back things where they belong. But as like a bachelor, which you couldn't really call him that at the young age that we were before we got married and moved in together, but he was just like, shit was everywhere. And I didn't like that, because I really would like to have had a little bit more order in the chaos. He didn't seem to have any order. But if I asked him where something was, he automatically knew where it was. And it could be buried under the floor, under a stack of books, and it'd be like a notebook or something. He would know exactly where it's at. So some people thrive in that certain things, but with a creator archetype, I believe that there's a chaos. There's a chaos that they thrive in that needs to be there. But of course, because we live in a world where we need to keep up with certain things a little bit more than, say, back before we had, real technology to burden us down. But I think that there's a little bit in society nowadays that needs to be a little bit more ordered. So that is definitely could be a shadow. Starting many projects, but rarely completing. I think that this is a lot of artists and creators and innovators' problems. It seems to be like they have so many ideas that they can't fully execute them. They just, as soon as they get something going on this project, they have another idea and they completely let go of this one thing that they were working on to begin something else. I think it's the thrill of starting something new. For me, it's the thrill of the white canvas. And when stuff starts to happen on my canvas and the idea itself has kind of dulled because I'm only executing it, it really doesn't take the blooming adrenaline rush that I get with starting something new, I will put a semi-finished thing up and get a full beautiful white canvas back out to begin something new, to get something pumping in me again, to get the excitement going again. And I think that is a lot of artists' problem. So I do believe that could go into a shadow thing. Losing time. I see this in myself a lot too. Now, mostly, not with everything, but mostly, I'm just trying to give you an example. Mostly in painting. Sometimes if the juices are flowing and I'm really inspired and it seems to be like I'm not getting interrupted all the time, I'm just really got time to kill, so I think I will lose out on time. I will lose pockets of time where I'll forget to eat, forget to drink, and then all of a sudden I'll get somebody will tap me on the shoulder and they'll be like, my husband will literally be like, okay, have you eaten lunch or dinner? And I'll be like, well, what time is it? And he'll be like, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, okay, well, no then. So losing time could lead to a shadow because then it kind of goes into the realm of not taking care of yourself. And I think taking breaks, even if the juices are flowing and you think that you're really pounding something out, I think that it's imperative for you to kind of step back and even time your breaks. You could put times on your phone, timers on your phone. Give yourself like maybe an hour or however many hours you think that you have to devote to something in that moment. And then when the timer goes off, you take a break. You go and get something to drink, something to eat, a snack, whatever. Go to the bathroom, okay? Because I have run my bladder till it's breaking point before because I just don't want to stop. So taking breaks and things is definitely worth it, I think. But I do think that losing time is a definite problem for artists that get into those bouts of, I need to finish, I need to get this going. So now one thing I learned was that ritualized creativity is good. Something like you have it on a calendar, right? So especially for like people that have busy lives and they don't necessarily have long periods of time to devote to creativity in whatever capacity that is, I think that setting aside time to do that is also an idea. Like, you have to be grounded though. You have to be grounded in that, and you have to like basically plug in a time, a space, like I'm going to do it in the kitchen at this time from this time, and I'm not going to get interrupted. So it could be either or there, it just kind of depends on your lifestyle, but I think ritualized timing could also be an idea for those of us who don't have 5 hours to spend on something. You could time it out. Like, Friday I have an off day, or I'm only going to be working in the mornings. I'm going to let me plug in a couple of hours to do something creative that afternoon, and where I'm not going to get interrupted. And then again, put that on your phone and time it out so that it's almost ritualized. I think that it just depends on your lifestyle, so you have to be careful. So I'm just going to write ungrounded because I believe that there's a point in which we need to ground to come back down to earth. I feel like a lot of the creator archetype is living in their own head, living in their own imagination. While that is a powerful thing and it's its own entity to me, in my own opinion, I believe that we can get stuck up there. It's so easy to get stuck up there in the abyss of the imagination, and sometimes we need to come back down to earth. Let's write these 3 things out. I think that these are going to be kind of like tasks. So these could go with the goals as well, but you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Live to create. The creator lives to create. The artist lives to create new things. Again, refer back to this side of the page. Need for progress. Definitely. And then they're constantly trying to realize, ooh, this pen would work, a vision. I hope the shadows are okay over here, because I feel like I was shadowed in a little bit. So the tasks or alternate goals of the creator are: they live to create, they have a need for progress, let's further, let's move forward, and then to realize a vision. Let me put to realize a vision. They have to execute the vision that they have, and they have to find out how to do that, and that's a need, a constant need for them. So now, as I said, I like to do the quotes last, and I'm going to use my all-time favorite art quote for the quote of this page. So because I always do it last, let's see if the silver will work. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it, but I can kind of see it. I may go back with some white later, like a white gel pen, and go over this, but I hope that you can see it. Fears. Now I'm going to write these words pretty big because there's only two that I really want to concentrate on when thinking about this archetype. Is unoriginality. It's a fear. They fear that somehow what they're going to create, their invention, their innovation, is somehow not going to be original. It's not going to be who they are. And I think that that's a really big fear that the creator archetype has. And then the second, of course, is just make both eyes look the same. Mediocrity. They don't want to be mediocre. I think that that would be a severe, severe fear for them. To not be the greatest. They want to be the greatest. So, and not so much for the glory. I don't think it's so much for the glory. It's more so that, again, with the unoriginality, I think that somehow they have this imposter syndrome thing happening where they really don't want just to be mediocre. They want to be grand. And it could be ego-driven, but it's more so that they're driven by the soul. The creator archetype itself is driven by the soul. So the need to be great drives their creativity, drives their imagination. So I don't really, it could have something to do with the ego, but I really think that it has something to do with their own brand of creativity. So let's do the quote. I think I'll have to do the quote in the pen to get it all in there. Now, this is my favorite art quote. Let's see. Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. I forgot to put the quotes up there. Caesar Cruz It's my favorite art quote of all time because I just think that it's correct. I think the statement itself is correct. I think that art, for art's sake, should comfort the disturbed. There's an outsider art to art that I like, this almost abstract expressionism about every kind of art, even if it's technology, that pulls me in. I need it to pull me in. I need it to make me disturbed if I'm comfortable with a certain subject, but then I need it to comfort me if I'm already way out there with my mindset on a certain subject. So I think that art is like almost like the glue with certain things, and you need it. You need it to tie things together. And we need creator archetypes. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was not a lot happening on the board right here, but come back next new moon and we'll look at another archetype. Much love.